Hey folks, Matt Easton here, scholagladiatoria, again reviewing one of Todd's fantastic products. What we've got here is a rondel dagger. Now, daggers and knives are probably what Todd's most famous for in the living history community, maybe alongside crossbows as well. And his rondel daggers have really become the benchmark, I think, for quality replicas, and particularly Basillard's rondel daggers and bollock knives, bollock daggers. But here's one of his absolutely lovely rondel daggers, and it's an interesting construction because it has an entirely metal hilt, but the hilt is not made in one piece, it's not cast in one piece, it is made of different elements, but it is an entirely metal handle. Now, these are very interesting, these rondel daggers. This is probably a late 15th century type, late 15th century design, I would say, although generally speaking, this type of metal-handled rondel dagger is actually around for quite a wide period of time, probably first appearing in the early 15th century and going all the way through to the maybe even as late as the middle of the 16th century, but certainly the beginning of the 16th century. And this has a triangular blade on it. Okay, so you find many different, I'll just put the scabbard down for a second, you find many different blade types and blade sections on rondel daggers. For any of you who think that they are only ever a spike and don't have edges ever, then that's wrong. Okay, you can find double-edged rondel daggers, you can find single-edged rondel daggers, you can find rondel daggers which are practically square or a true equilateral triangle and basically have no edges, no cutting edge. This is close to that. Whilst it does have an edge and it is sharpened, yep, definitely sharpened, it is a very wedge sectioned blade. You can see how thick. Let's just do a quick, I've got a tape measure here, let's see how thick it is at the base of the blade. It is a centimetre. So it's a centimetre thick at the base of the blade, and you know, it has distal taper, but not a huge amount of it, because that's what you want. You want an incredibly rigid and strong blade, because you've got to remember what these are for is specialised stabbing into joints and gaps in armour and trying to get through mail and trying to get through gambeson, and in some cases using it as a lever and as a defensive bar as well. If we look at Fiore or Paulus Cal or Talhofer or any of these other medieval treatises showing the use of these, they're often used defensively against swords, but they're often used as leverage things, as bars as well as spikes. Let's have a look at the hilt. So you can see that the hilt there, try and get the focus, there we go, is beautifully decorated. It's cast and then with a little bit of extra firework, I believe. And the rondel discs, which give the dagger its name, are separate elements, I believe. Let's just have a look. I think, yeah, they are separate elements. So we've got a brass disc, a brass essentially tube, and then another brass disc, and then the whole assembly, just like with the sword, is peened at the bottom, riveted at the bottom. And we can see those three elements nicely done. The rondels themselves are actually have got little, almost like little bites taken out of the edges, which give it more charm and more, you know, rather than just a plain disc, it's got a little bit more detail, and very much within the 15th century aesthetic as well. You can even see it on things like the edges of poleaxe blades and things like this, where the back edge, they'll just take little notches out just to make it look that little bit more detailed, and like a little bit more attention and love has gone into making that thing. Big on detail, big on decorative elements with this medieval kind of mindset, and it's beautiful. It almost looks architectural. This is almost like a column you might see in a Romanesque church, for example. Lovely blade, and obviously strong tang going right the way through to the end there. What a lovely thing. Another great one of Todd's daggers, and I'll put the link below to where you can get these things from. Cheers folks. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe, follow us on Facebook. You can buy t-shirts through Spreadshirt, support us on Patreon, or follow us on Pinterest. Thank you.